Hello everyone, welcome to this VOD, this a bit of VOD review with Svalja, or Dan, the coach of Nixuh, who recently just won the Road to Rage Invitational, or Road to Rage Qualifiers. So we're just going to walk through some map 5 and yeah, figure out some stuff and talk Sunset and see what things work. How are you doing, Dan?
And yourself, Rigor. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun to just go through some sunset ideas, all recorded apparently. So
Yeah, so I do a thing called the good, the bad, and the based. So whenever we look at something, we try and put things in here because I know people don't necessarily have all the educational content in the world, so it's always good to look at the pros and see what's working. And yeah, we can be as critical as you want to. I just want to do this for fun and have people actually remember what was map 5, because I don't think a lot of people watched it, and it was a match that you had to watch because that was insane.
no, it was awesome. It was a big back and forth. Again, like I mentioned to you earlier before we started the stream, like it was so much fun, and NF were a titan of the team, so it was fun to play against them. And they really brought the game on. It was so tough to try and do that reverse sweep. Nothing was actually even given, to be quite frank. It was really hard to take it back, and they fought for every inch and nail. So it's a lot of fun. And the Sunset match is definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn you up, and then we're gonna dive into it. It's no, not November. Keep him soft. Okay, understandable. But yeah, this map was crazy.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I think it was from this map. So I'm a huge stickler for stats these days, and after it was literally the double kill that Yeti got on split, yeah, the minute he got that, I'm like, it's done. It has the reverse sweep.
Yeti is literally a sentinel main. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he's obviously a good duelist because he was playing duelist as well. But he's a definitive, like, his read, like, if you go look at his game on bind, you'll see that a lot of his first bloods he's creeping up on like short or bathroom as well, which is a lot more like a sentinel's gameplay. So he's got a really good read on the game. So yeah, him on sentinel was phenomenal.
It was disgusting. That was the first double kill, and there was another one that happened afterwards. Yeah, and then that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was that, and I'm like, oh, that's a momentum shatterer. If you're NoFear, you get double killed 2 rounds in a row, back to back, and the game doesn't look the same.
No, it probably did get rough for them, especially on economy. Like, they're going to take a big dump on the economy then if they lose 2 of those buy rounds like that. But that is props. So, like, definitely big props out to Yeti because he held that. Sunset, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sunset came out just before Cypher buffs came in, which I argue were unnecessary because Cypher did not need to be buffed on this map.
Oh, I love Cypher's buffs. I'm so happy. But the thing, I think, because I've been playing this game since like beta, and Cypher initially was such a good sentinel, and he sort of fell out of it once people started learning how to actually use util. When people started using shock darts and satchels, because I think early phases of the game, like beta and season 1, people were a little bit slow on that, so they would just sort of, and you could dash through a Cypher trap at one point, like where it wouldn't break. There was that as well. So, or where it would break. So if you were Jet, you could just dash through it and break it. So he had a phase where he was like strong, people were playing him, and then people discovered how to counter him, and then he just fell off entirely. And then they brought Chamber in, and Chamber was sort of like the new meta and stuff. So, and Killjoy obviously came in as well, and her ulti was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. So I like the fact that they buffed Cypher. Like, I love him being back in it, because a good Cypher player is like the best rat. It's like a combo between a ratty controller and like a smart sentinel. That's how you play a good Cypher, bro. And that's always the best thing to watch, in my opinion. I just like them. I'm not a big fan of Duelist.
No, neither am I. And the fact that Cypher is as strong as he is now, there was a round where I think it was the second or third round in this. We'll get to it, but where Skydog went through a Cypher trip, and then
and they didn't clear it.
And they didn't clear it, and they walked straight into Cypher trip and got gunned down.
Yeah,
like,
Keng got the kill from it. Yeah, I love that. See, so I like that. It forces out a little bit more discipline. Like, you have to actually, like, if you're going to commit util like the dogs or you know, whatever the util would be, you need to actually commit someone to break the trap. You can't just, like, go through it and then ignore it. So I love this, like, the Cypher play. I was telling as a joke, I was telling three. I still think there might be a meta in the near future of VCT where they run 3 or 4, like okay, not 4, but maybe 3 sentinels on this map.
Yeah, it's. I think I am the resident deadlock salesman, and I feel like
Yeah, I'm a
deadlock.
big believer in deadlock as well.
I'm glad deadlock is so strong.
She's
Deadlock
very
is
good.
so
She's
strong.
very,
It's
very
just,
good.
people have written her off because it's like, oh well, she's a shitty KJ. I'm like, she's not. She has a different.
She's phenomenal. That
Yeah,
wall that she puts up is so much control for such a long period of time. Then on top of that, those stuns, I think people don't think they're good, but they are. They're just obviously not used for flank watching. So she's not a conventional sentinel where you sit and watch flank, or you have util that watches flank and you can go running around. Which is the same that could be said about Chamber as well. Like he's like a bit of a hybrid. He can play like a duelist, but he's a sentinel, right? Like he can peek corners and get out safely like a jet, almost better than a jet could. So same thing applies for me with deadlock. Like she's not that cipher type flank that holds flank or killjoy, but she has very good util that can sometimes be used aggressively as well. The snare nade, that's big on a retake with your teammates. Like if people are busy crouching in the middle of their gunfight, they usually get thrown off and their aim is off. So I'm a big fan of deadlock. I think people just haven't used her correctly yet.
yeah. I was trying to compare because the argument is, oh, deadlock is a worse KJ, and I'm like, who would you rather have on a rush? If you're being rushed and you have a sentinel, would you rather a KJ or a deadlock? And
That's
I
the
think,
thing for me. Like you take a look at this. Like if you're rushing A on Sunset or something, you're running deadlock, right? You can throw the fact that she can throw her wall down aggressively gives you like a whole block off of one part of the map. So you can take a site by throwing that down that wall and smoking it and knowing you're safe. Like yes, they can spam through it, but you can just return the spam. But at least nobody can push you through the smoke. There's no pop flash peaks on while you're busy taking the site. You know they're behind a wall.
yeah,
So
but
no, yeah.
it's
Sorry.
gonna take a buff before people start realizing how strong
I
she
think,
is, and that's the
yeah, I
worst
think
part.
she's gonna get a buff. I hope they were talking about it. I hope they do give her a bit of a buff because I think she's got nice potential.
Ooh, yeah. This, I think, honestly, this fake on round one from NoFear is quite possibly my favorite fake I've seen on this. Where they just take all of elbow from you guys on A, and you guys all rotate onto A side, and they just take B for free.
Yeah. No, they are pretty strong on takes, though, I won't lie. So I think it's Comey and then curve of what curve curve aim shot or something. I don't know
Yeah,
what his
custom
name is.
curve aim.
But yeah, but it's Maxo. So here, Comey and Maxo play a lot, like play together quite a lot. So they're quite a good duo as well. And their play style fits so well with, well, for me personally, I think it does fit well with Alec and Scarium and them because they're all pretty much aggressive and they're real good gunners. So they don't necessarily miss. Like it's really hard to hold the site. You have to play good positioning against these guys. And the other thing is they're actually disciplined as well. So they'll like hit something and then pull back when they need to, which a lot of teams don't do. Some people will just bum rush. So it's unfair to say that NF just rush without any thought to it because they do actually put some thought into the way they execute sites.
Yeah, I think Scarium is one of the prime examples for a duelist with duelist brain that is like challenging a lot more initiators. Because the space he's finding is insane. The times he gets off of flashes, Alec would throw a flash and you'd think that or Scarium would swing before it or after it, and he swings half before it, so you turn away from it, realize he's there, look straight into the flash, and you're dead.
Yeah, and he's already on it. No, their timing is immaculate. So they got very good synergy as a team, to be quite frank. So it was definitely a challenge almost every round.
And this series, I think, honestly speaking, I think if you guys went 2-0 in the beginning of this series and NoFear started taking maps, you probably lose it. But I think you also had so much momentum coming into map 5. Yeah, having one map 3 and map 4, and bringing in Keng, who is warming up on the Odin exclusively. Yes.
Yeah, well, he's a couple of rounds. I don't know, you'll probably see it, but there's a couple of rounds where Keng walks around with an Ares and still gets his kills. How he does it, I don't know, man. But like, yeah, he's definitely a gifted kid. Like, he's insane. I mean, when I had him for the trials, when we were hosting the Nixuh trials initially as well, I asked him like to start because we had about the top. I think we had about a finalist queue as well with about 10 people, and then I asked him to really like pull out. And in terms of the stats, I think his KD was 2.1. And when I said like we were playing like against like some fairly good high level players in South Africa, because there was a shortlist of about 20 people that went down to 10, and Keng was by far the best performing duelist, and even sentinels. He played sentinel on some of the maps, and his KD was very high. So he's unbelievably consistent. So he's like very good as well, and it's so nice that we have a sub like Yeti, when these two are basically interchangeable if we need it. So we're definitely lucky in that sense. But Keng was immaculate on the Cypher. And yeah, we were contemplating playing something like 4 Sentinels on this map, actually. But then at some point, I think Keng also mentioned it, and so did Tui. They said, well, if we've come this far, we might as well try our best, to try and win it now. So we were like, okay, let's give it a go then. So it was a lot of fun.
I have a question. So I said on the broadcast, because I know that Keng is normally on your first 5. I said on the broadcast that you played Yeti in the first couple of maps because you wanted to try him for LAN, because you guys all guaranteed a LAN spot from this.
So no, yeah, that's the sad thing, as a matter of fact. So Yeti can't play any LANs for the next couple of months because he's like hard at work to have like a family business and stuff. So he can't be off or flying around for the LANs at this point in time. So we had to play Yeti because King had load shedding. So yeah, so we had to play Yeti because King had load shedding. So Yeti's like our sub all the way up until the point where we get LAN. But when we get to LAN, we're basically not going to have an extra sub unless there's an actual emergency, I guess, in which case I'll have to play, but that would be detrimental. So no,
Okay.
I'm not nearly. He's also on a different level. So
Okay, no, I understand. The reason why I'm not talking about the first 5 rounds, because I am a stalwart believer that the first 5 rounds don't matter. I've said it once on the broadcast, and I know it's dangerous information to say, but the reason why I say it is, I think statistically, the econ, because of how fragile Valorant's econ is, resets after the 5th round.
Oh yeah, so you're not wrong in saying that. The economy does reset quite well after the 5th round. So with Valorant as well, like it's definitely resettable after the 1st round. And also, one point that people do forget as well is you don't necessarily need those first 5 rounds as long as you're building up towards ultis. Because then by the 5th round, you should be able to win it with ultis, and you can start switching momentum around. So one thing we did quite often against NoFear, which we didn't do in this map obviously as well, is because they were really a momentum-based team. So they would take, like, if they take 3 rounds, it gets like they'll start snowballing it. So every time they won about 3 or 4 rounds, we would literally call a timeout. Not necessarily because we felt like obviously we weren't winning, so we needed as well. But we also did it primarily to try and break momentum, because these Oaks are very good at keeping momentum. Like once they start hitting a site a couple of times, they get into a flow of a game and they do really well.
I think, yeah, this is the trip. Yeah, this is the trip we were talking about.
Yeah, this is the one where no one shot it. And the dog got it in the first place as well.
Yeah, dog got tagged, yeah, and then...
So King has so much time here, and it sucks. It is a one-way, but it is an unbreakable trap, but it does suck there for Max. So.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't believe the first 5 rounds matter. In the at least the very first 5 rounds. When halftime happens, I think there's a different conversation. Yeah, but if the match starts, then first 5 rounds don't matter.
Yeah, so there's definitely validity to that statement, because I mean, if there wasn't, you wouldn't have Fnatic, with their legendary comeback and stuff. This game is made for comebacks. I feel like you have to stay on top of the ball because you could throw it so easily. And reverse sweeps are a thing in Valorant. Like it happens more often than not. So you got to really keep the focus up and end it off proper. And discipline is a big factor, obviously. So if your team stays on top of the ball and they farm up ulti orbs and stuff, and they win that 5th round and they keep the momentum going from there on, then you are good actually to take it back.
Yeah, I think that's where it's momentum. I've said it before on the cast, and I'll keep saying it. Momentum. Valorant is not a game of how much money you have when the round starts. It's how much momentum you have going into them.
Yep.
Because I could lose 10 rounds in a row and my eco could be shot, but if I have a guy who's constantly shooting back, and I think that's why you guys won split, because Yeti started shooting back and he didn't stop. Yeah. So it's really hard to shut down a site where you know that 50% of your options are down the drain just because of one player.
Yep. So you see, we won that round, right? But the core here was, even before we won the round, I said to them, regardless of whether we take this round or not, we're calling a timeout again, just so we can break some momentum. So we're just going through standard default setups, how we were going to play the rest of the map again now, or the rest of the round again. But we specifically tried to do this to keep them obviously from gaining their momentum, because they really are a very, very good team once they start getting into that flow. So we take a second or two to obviously evaluate how we play them here, what they're like, what their habits are, etc. But they're not really readable because they do switch it up quite often. But they like I said, I watched a lot of their games, and they like doing either the solid push or the 3-2 split. And they'll fake on the 3-2 split. So, and I had the chat with 3 before the game, and I said to him, like, even if they're executing a site, that obviously they don't over rotate, keep the discipline good, keep off site hold maybe a little bit deeper, and then we'll play sort of like a retake more against these guys because they are really good at taking the site. You're being kind of, it's only egotistical to wait on a site with a team like this. Like there's no reason for you on defense to try and hold the site as this lonely soldier, you know?
Yeah. So who's your IGL? I saw chat that Thu is your IGL.
Yeah, that's Thui. He's literally Boaster. He is an absolute genius. His read of the game is immaculate. I'll say this any day of the week. He's a phenomenal IGL.
So then what's the communication between you and Thui then? Is it one of he gives you ideas and you validate them, or
No. So we obviously do dry runs and we do set plays and executes, and then we run through a lot of the stuff in scrims as well, and then we go through it again. Then me and him will sit like on practice sessions, we'll sit and go through stuff and figure out why the util doesn't work, how we can switch the changing or the timing around that to make the util work better together. And then obviously we'll run that through with the team on like a dry run, and then we'll go practice it on the scrims. So all of this stuff is usually set out before, which makes the Sunset match so much more interesting because we hadn't done anything on Sunset yet. So this was just pure team like gameplay. Like we just have to focus on trading out and playing together as a team. So this primarily was all just team communication. We're trying stuff on the go, making sure we trade out, and then obviously one or two individual plays where these oaks just popped off, like where Keng or Basi obviously or Toothless, sorry, in his little clutch as well. So the guys they obviously had their own moments as well, but the communication between me and Thui is done long before the matches. And then on the matches, if I do call a timeout, then I'll tell them, okay, can we try our A execute or our B split or whatever the case would be. And then we know where everyone goes in the positioning on that, obviously beforehand. So then that goes out. Then we'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, then we'll adjust stuff up. But yeah, but primarily Thui is the big brains behind all of the calls in game. So he makes most of them. Basi or Toothless sort of acts like a secondary IGL. He'll obviously have some input. But the nice thing about these guys is they're all so good. Well, they're all individually so high ranked and skilled that they'll give input together and tell. Like Cloaks has played with Thui for a very long time, so he'll tell him whether he thinks it's a stupid idea or not. So there'll be some banter every now and then. Like Thui will make a call and then they'll be like, oh, that's a stupid call or something. Or one of the things Thui likes to do is tell people to hold a high-low when it's like a 1v2. And so the guys keep teasing him every time that it's a 1v2. They'll be like, high-low. Just to tease him. So he gets the brunt of it, but he is, at the end of the day, the big brains making most of the calls. This was insane. This 3K that Ken got was insane. I have this on the VOD, where he comes out the smoke and hits 3 of them. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I was actually, while we're on the topic of you guys and the banter and stuff, I've seen a lot of, you've seen it, like the comms videos and etc. etc. Yeah. You guys are now a roster, right? You're a signed roster. You're with Nixuh, which is one of the biggest South African orgs. What's the future look like in terms of just general content creation or the career of these players?
So I think there's a lot of good things. Like Nixuh is really nice in terms of like content creation, and I think if these guys do well and assert dominance for the next couple of months, they can move on to maybe doing a little bit of a streaming thing, South African scene. So I think it's still early, obviously, in the South African scene, but that could obviously lead to something like that later on for these oaks. But yeah, Nixuh does give these guys like quite a nice gateway into going into content creation later on, I'd say. There's quite a bit of options for them from Nixuh's side, definitely. It's a wonderful org, obviously. I know it's going to sound, but obviously I have to say that, but it really is a wonderful org.
Yeah, it's. I think any org that's taking a chance on Valorant at the moment is in high regard for me, at least.
No, they've been wonderful. The support we've gotten and like the effort that they've put in is so nice.
Yeah, I think because everyone who doesn't know Keng now knows Keng, and I always preach that the way we thrive as a scene is by having these micro celebrities, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Keng is already one of them. He's been one in the Valorant community, but having a org sign onto the idea and actually give them the opportunity, the platform to show it off, has made a huge difference.
And quite frankly, I must say, like, I've been waiting for us to get this opportunity. Obviously, we're getting this money now in as well, but there's a little bit more spotlight on Valorant, obviously, than there was, 2-3 years ago. And it's quite nice to see, because Keng's been in a winning team for almost, 2-3 years since he's been young. So he's been performing at like high levels and been winning everything for ages. So it's finally nice to have something like 100 viewers. I think we had at one point with the stream, as well, to have a bunch of people actually watch and like recognize and stuff. Because I'll be quite frank. I genuinely think like Keng could easily compete at the highest level, even on like an international platform. Because for instance, he used to play with a teammate called Simply Q, Quinton. He's in the US right now, and he's played a bunch of the Tier 2 Division NA teams, and he's doing very well. I mean, he's had a game against Asuna. He went to the trials for for Evil Geniuses Academy. So, and he used to be one of Keng's teammates, and together those Oaks were. I used to play against them. I was playing in Eclipse back then, and we played. You played against Quinton, Thui, Cloaks, and I think it was Plagier as well, and then Keng. So that team was the scariest team you could have thought of, and those guys were really good. And they were being coached by Ewok, who is obviously the
RRQ.
coach for RRQ, right? So that's international standards right there. So I'm very glad we finally have a proper scene and stuff, and I have like a platform for people like Keng to also get an opportunity, because this kid could easily perform at a much higher level. Because like I said, I'm not saying he's trolling, bro, but at some point he's walking around with an Ares and he gets like 2-3 kills. Like we have money for a buy, but Keng buys the Ares and he gets his kills. So like as a coach, that's always interesting, because you want to be like, what are you doing? And then he ends up making it work. You're like, okay, whatever, just do what you want, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, as long as you're killing people, I don't mind.
If you're getting results, I don't care how you get them, it's fine. Well done, bro, just keep doing it.
So this post plant, and I keep thinking about it actually, because this post plant, I said on the broadcast that NoFear threw it away. And I honestly think there's a world in which NoFear just wipes the floor with you guys here. And it was literally just because of where Scarium's position. Because I argue... So, well, we'll play the round out, and I'll open up VALOPLANT and I'll explain my reasoning behind it. But I think that the best plants, or the best space to contest on this map, is not market, but just backsites on B. And the minute you give up backsites, you give up so much retake space.
Yeah, no, you are right on that term. Let me just check quickly. I don't know. Did Cloaks have... was Cloaks alive here?
No, he wasn't. It was literally just... Oh, I think Cloaks dies instantly.
At the beginning of the round.
He comes... No, so at the beginning of the retake. So he comes out, gets laid out by Alec.
I don't know if he's used wall yet. So B-main obviously isn't an option for them. But yeah, I think Scarium could have played more aggressively, more towards pillar. 100% could have played closer to pillar to do the trade earlier.
Just because I think backsites is so strong on this map. I don't think front sights is as potent.
No, it is a valid point.
Yeah.
But then I think you have to control for the control of backside and CT. I don't think you can have only backside, because you're going to get pinched, especially if there's a lurker as well. But yeah, let's see. We can watch it from the beginning of the round. Then I think it'd be easier to make a proper analysis of what happens. Because,
well, let me go into VALOPLANT so I can show you. So my argument is, I don't think that front sights is as decent a spot. So it's, if I had to divide the site, I divide it into like, this section is section 1, this section up here is section 2, and then you have Boba and you have Market, right? I think the best plant, more often than not, and I could be wrong, is here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Like, as of late, I've been believing that's a much nicer plant, especially for any position.
I just think...
CT or thingy, obviously not for somebody wrapping Market, but if you have someone wrapping Market, I guess you can play the normal plant. But for B main, even for like the main area from attacking side, that's a very nice plant, because it's easy to spam as well.
Yeah, it's literally just... This is a bit of a spicy spam, but this is the one that you're going for.
Yeah, that's
like
so
the swing
easy.
out.
Yeah, you can't miss that. It's literally half the spike you have to spam.
Yeah. So the problem I have is playing someone here, you have to be like fully coordinated on this. Because if you have 2 people here and 1 person here, you lose the round.
Yeah, no.
You have to have like everyone committed here, I think.
So I think the reasoning behind Scarium's thought process there would be is I need to see if he has a kill first, because I guess he could have been playing for, because there is an angle from there where you can see into CT quite nicely, and I think that's what he was trying to do, because it's an easy tap angle, which I think he loses, or he gets shot off the angle. So he gets the first kill, and that's on A. So they wrap, then they come back towards B after that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so Cloaks has used the wall already.
The Sage wall is so strong, actually. I think it's actually stronger than some smokes.
I genuinely enjoy Sage. I'm not. It's like a joke as well, but I've been saying I think like 5 sentinels on Sunset might even be a thing. Literally just smoke with Cypher and then wall the rest of it.
I genuinely believe if you gave Deadlock a flash, then 5 sentinels is the easiest thing in the world.
Actually. Okay, so Scarium does get that too.
Yeah, I just
So
think
guess,
backing up here is trolling. I think he just trolled coming back here.
but he does have the 1 kill here, so he's trying to play that angle. So I guess he tried to get the 1 and then dash, but then falls back. Yeah, I think he's way too far here, maybe. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this guy got the info that they were there with the flash.
Yeah.
The TV from Cubliks as was kind of, at the end, was kind of rough.
I think he got flashed. No, I think it was full. No, he wasn't.
Full flash.
Yeah, I think he channeled his TP because he was full flashed.
Yeah.
So I think he gets blinded here. Yeah, he gets blinded, so and then he TPs out.
Unlucky he misses the shot though. He wins that shot, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, I just think that if Scarium was close to pillar and helped Alec, then Cloaks doesn't get out, or Thui doesn't get out, or Sky doesn't get out either, and it's a 3v1 retake.
I think it's, for me, like, you could also reason that, like, maybe Scarium was, because there was nothing watching flank and there could have been timing on that, but he doesn't really check B main, which means I don't think his thought process was thinking about flank at all. So in that scenario, it could have been better where he rather just plays with Alec on pillar and take that fight, especially because I think it's just it would have been just 1v2, because Cloaks watches the right side coming out of CT, and Sky immediately paths left after the flash, and then obviously kills Cubliks. But if they played pillar, they would have probably traded on Cloaks, and then Sky would have been left in the 1v2.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's the way that this map is played, especially this B side.
It's been like it's I don't know. These guys are all very, very good players individually, so.
Yeah, it's a game of fine margins. This play was insane.
Oh, holy. Yes, when they walled over, I laughed at this so much because I saw it on the minimap. Close did not expect it.
It took me a while to realize what was happening, and I'm like, why are there 5 people here? Oh, wait.
So good. That is so good.
That is such a good play, man.
That was well done.
No, that was one of the funny. That's the most Looney Tunes round I've ever seen.
That was hilarious. That was like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, and only one person went over.
I don't know what this was by Bussy, to be quite frank. We have no info. We know whether it was 4 mid. Nobody ever said 5. So he just ulties there. But to be fair, this was also his first time playing Omen on this map. He usually plays Astra.
I mean, I get it. I think you have a lot of util, so Astra's a bit overkill here. So I do like the Omen pick on it more than I do like the Astra pick.
Yeah, so we're not fixed on anything, quite frankly. He was enjoying the Omen as well, and I think it's still interchangeable depending on who we play.
Yeah.
So depending on the team we'll be playing, we'll probably pick our smokes accordingly. To either, like, obviously meet them or try and counter them.
That double tap. I think he gets another one. Yeah, this is insane. Big. 2 bullets and gets 2 headshots off.
Yeah, that's big from Sky.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
That's nuts. And then he crouch sprays, but yeah, he crouch sprays and loses the round. But no, I think he got excited. That's what happened.
Because most people will after that time.
And he does it again this round, I think.
Oh, this is another thing. Scarium on knives is insane.
It's terrifying, actually. Yeah.
No, he's very accurate.
I wonder if Scarium is as good on Raze as he is on Jet. I feel like he's a good duelist in sense of game sense, and he's pops off on the ISO. I don't know what his Raze looks like. I don't think I've remember seeing him play Raze.
Too much on Raze. I think Alex played Raze once or twice.
Yeah.
But I haven't really seen Scarium play the Raze. But no, I think, I don't know, I haven't seen anyone really as good with the knives as Scarium, so I think it's such an advantageous thing to just put him on the Jet, because this guy's literally, I swear, every time I've seen him play, he's literally good for 2 or 3 with knives. I'm like, his conversion rate is insanely high. But I mean, look at him, he's a maniac, look at the way he runs, like, he's so hard to deal with.
I think there's an argument for Scarium being the best duelist on the server. I actually truly believe that in competitive play, Scarium's the best duelist on the server.
I must say, and this will obviously be biased, I guess, but I don't know if I could decide between them, but my top 3 duelists, I would definitely say, would probably be, just based on the stats that I ran of those, like, it was done over like 3 weeks with those trials as well. Keng is, when I ask him to like focus up and I put him on duelist, it's scary, because like I said, He's very talented, bro. He'll relax and he'll play a normal game, and then like sometimes I'll have a discussion with him. And I'm asking like, can you just like sweat, please, and show me what you're made of? And then it's insane. It's like 3 says to him, go A, and he'll go A and he'll kill 3 like with no issue. Almost every round he's asked to do it. So he didn't play much of a duelist on these maps, so you guys didn't see him on duelist, but we have him changing out with someone else on the team on duelist as well. So there are maps where we run that, obviously, which we were still keeping for finals. But when he's on that, I think it'll be a lot of people will be very scared of that. So Scarium is very talented. I wouldn't take that away from him, but I have to still say, I think at the end of the day, the best duelist, if he wanted to, and if you tried, would probably be Keng. And then Sky is easily second. And then, yeah, I think Morgs is also up there. So is Komi and Maxo. They play a lot on Duelist. Those guys do it almost every day. So those guys are all very, very good. So Scarium is probably definitely in the top 10, but I wouldn't say he's the best. Not in my opinion. I think he's great, but I wouldn't say he's the best. Maybe
So
top 5 easily.
I have the argument, or I have like it's very nuanced when I say like duelist, because I have 2 definitions of it. I have duelist in role and then duelist in nature. So
Okay,
Keng could play anything and he could frag out, so he's a duelist in nature, but Scarium is a duelist on his role, right? So and also the comparison would be, is it Scarium over Sky or Scarium over Morgs? And I think on a good day, Scarium on Jet clears Morgs, even on Raze.
Yeah. No, I've gotten, well, I don't know about on Raze, because like I said, I haven't seen Scarium do much of it. And Morgs is also, because I ran him through the trials as well. He was playing on the trials as well, and on his maps where he plays duelist as well, he is extremely. I don't know if it's because the kid plays guitar or what, but he's got like a rhythm to him. He's got something that I remember specifically, and I've seen Scarium do nutty things, but there's a thing that I've seen in the last 3 years that I've been like playing this game and coaching, and there's like it's a sort of a rhythm to the game where some guys will go into like a full-on flow state and they'll just tap everything they see. And the first person I saw do this ever was Cloaks when he just joined the scene, and this is when he played 24/7. This man was arguably just as good, if not like he was on par with Keng. So there was like 2 Kengs in the team. And then, but the way he used to do it is he could tap, if 4 people peeked him, I guaranteed he could kill 3, like without a doubt, and maybe damage the 4th person. Morgs tends to do that as well. I've watched his POV as well. I haven't watched Scarium's POV per se that much. I don't think I've seen it yet. So maybe you are a bit more clued in that regard. But I think Morgs has a very good rhythm to him as well when he plays Duelist. And so does Keng, obviously. But I still think Keng is number 1 if he wants to. But I get what you're saying in terms of their role. Yes, I think Scarium absolutely like flourishes on a Duelist role. Like he knows which routes to run. He's there, and also on that note, he also has wonderful people helping him initiate. So most of these guys, because so many of them play Duelist, the initiators are really well in tune with wherever Scarium's going. They know which way he's pathing. They know where to dump util for him. So the teamwork is also a big number here for Scarium that enables him to get so much.
Yeah, actually, that's also, I think you can't argue about the best duelist without talking about the initiators behind them.
Yeah. The initiator
so it's really
makes
hard.
it like if you have a good initiator, the Duelist does the easiest job in the world.
Yeah, he just goes in and clicks on people.
Yep, and that's you just make sure every other corner is covered for him, and you trade him out, and that's all you ever really want from your initiator. And once you get that like teamwork, and like I said, this is the thing for me with the NF guys. You can see that they've played together for a very long time because they have natural like instinct playing with each other. Like Alec will initiate for Scarium in places because Alec also has played Duelist sometimes, so he knows where Scarium's going to pass to, and he'll clear that for him or give him an advantage in a fight almost all the time. So for me, that's one of the scary parts for NoFear as well, is they have that really good synergy.
But that flick, that's holy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I remember we saw that and everyone was just like, what?
What is this man on? He's still planting.
No, his gun's not even up on Alec's screen. No, he's scary. He really is scary.
Yeah, but that's my take. I think Scarium is the best duelist on the server from what I've seen. And my criteria for this is like how much does he get done when there is no util? So in a vacuum, how much is he getting done?
Yeah, he's also phenomenal in that regard. I mean, sometimes even without any support, he still gets 2.
Yeah. Even I think a good duelist doesn't make the team, but it's one of those things where I said in the cast, the only way you beat NoFear is how do you stop Scarium from just walking everywhere he wants to.
Yeah. No, that's
Because even if it's a tight gap, he will get through it, and he will be behind your team, and you guys turn around and suddenly you get shot in the back of the head. Like,
or he's in your face. I think it was
yeah.
around as well, where he dashed into someone's face. I think it was Busty's face or something, or Toothless, and they were all like confused as to how he got there.
Yeah.
So, no, his aggression is definitely rivaled. I don't think anyone is as aggressive as he is, and like so confident. Like he's extremely confident.
But yeah, I think it's interesting to see how these. I think NoFear is a team that's a lot more rigid in their roles in comparison to a lot of the South African teams, because on this series we have your basic like sentinels, you have your Keng on Cypher and Yeti on Cypher Chamber, etc. But then Toothless is playing, I think, 3 different types of controllers.
Yeah, he can play 3 of them. So we're getting him to play everything. Obviously, he's going to obviously. Hopefully, by the time we play LAN, he'll be able to play any controller role. You see what I mean? Like I don't understand this kid. Like he plays with an Ares, like, and he kills things. He's he's so funny, man.
It's so problematic. Holy.
Do you know how like mentally annoying that is if you're playing against that? Like with some guys out here like taking your head off with an Ares on buy rounds. Like, it gets frustrating.
And so, I think the worst part is how economical it is, because every kill he gets with it is worth at least 2,009.
Yeah, he's literally I think he just uses the Ares for about 3 or 4 rounds here. So me and Three were having a chat about it, and we were laughing at it because I said like I was watching like an interview with a bunch of the coaches on like EG and Paper Rex and stuff, and they were just chatting about their players, and they were saying basically all of them were saying there's always this one player on your team that just does his own thing, but it seems to always work out. So you just don't basically leave him, let him do his thing, and because if it keeps working out, there's nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, as long as you're getting results. So that player for us is probably 100% Keng, bro. He gets to do a lot more, obviously, because he's so good at capitalizing on what he wants to do. So, I mean, if he's consistent in the results, there'd be no point in stopping him.
Yeah, no, it's like Althea, the Althea conundrum, where Althea is effectively the duelist, but he's not actually a duelist. He's just the guy that you run away from if you're playing against him.
Exactly. So no, I 100%. That's a very good analogy. So I agree with that. So I was saying to Stewie, we're more like this was a rough game because I feel like our play style and the way we play as a team is a little bit more like not obviously that we even nearly as great as Fnatic would ever be, but like it's a little bit more similar. Oh, we called this. I said to them before the round, just if you're gonna play B main, careful of the wall, and we don't adjust.
What happened? I didn't see it.
So the call was to go back off site. So we got the plant down, and then the call was to go back off site. And before the round started, I think when we still had comms up or something, I mentioned to Stewie, just careful for the wall on retake, because Maxo had been keeping it. He hadn't been using it anyway consistently every round, which was smart of him, obviously, because he's keeping it for the retake. And they basically just walled up and diffused. And we were out of position. We didn't have enough people spamming it. I think Sky tried to molly it, but the molly fell on the wall. So that was well played by NF. Like they played that perfectly. The retake timing was perfect. They walled up and then they spammed back. So even though we were trying to spam the wall, they just spamming down B main, which literally has only 2 spots we can spam from. So we were at a big disadvantage. So they played that perfectly on the retake.
Yeah, that's I saw the wall. I saw the wall, the first chunk of it break. I didn't realize there was the vertical one. Yeah, the one that's perpendicular to B main.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's smart from them. So that's a very smart move to just put it straight up forward, and then they have to break 3 or 4 of those walls to get through to you. So really well, that was a good disciplined play as well. But like I said, they hadn't been committing the wall earlier, so I was like, he's keeping it for a reason. But he played that very well.
But I also think it's because of this. Yeah, it's this. It's literally this frame that confirms it. Because Toothless defaults to the smoke mid every single round.
Yep.
And this smoke is a double-edged sword. So if that smoke's being dropped, an attacker's not going to push through the smoke because the defender might be there. And the defender's not going to swing it because attackers might be in courtyard.
Exactly.
So he just keeps his wall.
It is actually so detrimental because if you combo a Reyna Sky Flash, because you can't break the Sky Flash no more, out of that smoke, it's deadly too. It doesn't matter who they are. We don't really have, we could counter flash, but Phoenix is just going to blind his whole teammate. Stewie's dogs are going to be way too slow if they rush out of that smoke. So that smoke is actually more detrimental, I think. So I don't know. We'd have to figure out a proper mid play. So I don't know what controller we're gonna have to use on Sunset, but it'll have to be something that controls properly.
Yeah, I said it on the broadcast, and I said when I did my first impressions that mid is so bait.
Yeah.
Fighting from mid is, unless you can reliably get market for a B split, mid is where a lot of the deaths will happen, and you'll just lose rounds randomly, even if you have everything else perfect.
I don't necessarily think mid control means anything in this map that much because it's such a bottleneck to go to market. I mean, if the team is half decent and they've set up for market and for main, you're basically just running into a spray down. So
Yeah.
I think set executes on B, especially like I think the like North Pacific teams and stuff, they'll probably have, oh yeah, we just whiffed a little bit there. I think they'll probably have like hard executes onto the sites because you can get onto A or B so quickly with like a good util dump, regardless of the KO of the sci-fi. I mean, I still think some people could run KO on this map because it's so open-ended. Like it's so there's no roof. Like there's nothing up on top. Like you can run Gecko, you can run KO, you can throw knives across the map if you need to. And I think if you do that and you get rid of something like a cipher, it's such an easy take after that. There's not much holding. So, and then set up for post plants and stuff, but it would have to be adjusted. I think you have to go and play around with different plant spots on Sunset to really utilize it to its fullest potential.
Yeah, I was actually talking about it a while ago because I normally do, like, I watch a bunch of analysis on different maps and I tweet out, and I was like, oh, double initiator is the new meta we're gonna walk into because I think double duelist and dive is rapidly on its way out. And I just realized now, I'm like, Cypher's super strong. Why haven't we tried to turn him off? Why don't we run Sky K or something to that effect?
That's exactly like there's just a little counterplay. So I'm still waiting. I don't know at what point Riot would do this, but I genuinely hope that this was nice from 3. I genuinely hope that we get into a ban phase at some point because I think it would make the game so much more strategical and fun if you get to ban, strengths of like opposing teams. So if we get to ban, say for instance, Reina, and they get to ban one Duelist, etc., whatever the roles may be. Obviously, they need a bigger player pool for that one day. But I think that would be so fun because that's the exact type of thing you could start countering. If you let someone pick a cipher, then you counter obviously by picking KO and things like that. Especially with the KO ult as well. There's no way cipher can really hide if you're rushing A or B. If you KO ult, it gets pretty much the whole site. I mean, you can play offside, but then the traps are just useless, obviously, right? And then you just run through it and break it because there's no way out to trade you off the traps. So, but yeah, I think maybe like a KO or something would be good against the ciphers on this. I like ISO though. Man, I've been playing so much ISO lately. Maybe to some people's dislike on ranked, but I've been enjoying ISO, and I think he's also good for getting rid of Cypher, for instance, because you just ulti the back of the site and you pull him into a 1v1, and even if you don't take the site, or even if you don't win the 1v1, your team can take site in that instance and just go kill him wherever you ultied him,
Yeah. I think I do agree with the ban phase. And I would love to see it like where you can, for example, you're going against NoFear, so you just ban Jet.
Yeah.
You just ban Jet.
Game has to play something else.
Yeah, but then also both teams can't play Jet. And I'm like, that's an interesting idea. You're sort of giving and taking what you want and what you don't want.
Oh yeah, this was criminal. This was criminal.
The fact that he's going for headshots with the Odin, of all things, is a problem.
He was playing COD the whole day, so he had the COD aim, so then he switches to the Odin, and he just... It's insane.
Yeah, Alec's been really good for these trades, actually. This entire series.
Yeah, Alec is very good with the teamwork and the trades. Like I said, his synergy with Scarium as well is quite scary. They're very good together.
This is where it matters, right? The first 5 rounds never matter. It's always this last stretch where it's 9-9 or 9-10.
Yeah, this is 100% the most crucial. Means everything in terms of economy as well. I think at this point, Sky was yelling at Thui not to peek, saying, I have a flash. And then Thui just gets obliterated by Scarium here. Oh yeah, and then he gets the molly down. This was quite funny. And dies mid-air.
But that's one of those moments where I'm like, if Scarium dodges that flash, this round is over.
Yeah, and it's hard for Scarium there, right? Because especially also after the nerf on Jet. I mean, in Jet 1v1s, you used to be able to at least half the spike with one smoke. Yeah. Now you can't half it anymore. It literally gets you to 3/4 of the way. So it's very hard for Scarium to do anything there. And obviously Sky has that extra bit of util and the molly. So that was great.
I think that's healthy, though. That's a level of game health that I'm happy with. because you shouldn't have a duelist. I'm a firm believer that duelists shouldn't be alive in post plant. That's just my.
No, they should.
That's just my belief.
So I used to coach. When I used to coach this guy called Brandon Williams as well, he used to play for Rise and then the 80K Academy and stuff that I used to coach as well. But he was the funniest to me because he had this thing where he would be a duelist and he would get dinked and then he'd turn around and run away and say, I'm dinked, like we need to leave. I would lose it, bro, because it's your literal job is to die. Like, die, create space. You're not there to run around and go get a heal. If your healer's nowhere near you or for not even running a heal, don't stop the push because you got dinked. Like, I mean, you never see 10s, for instance, get dinked. He gets his 3rd and 4th kill on 10 HP. That's how it works for Duelist. That's your life. You run it and you're aggressive 24/7. But yeah, I fully believe, I fully agree with you on that term. Like, your Duelist goes in all the time, every time, as hard as they can and stuff. And they have to keep doing that to the point where they're so comfortable. Oh, this was big from Cloaks.
Yeah, the triple kill is.
Yeah, that was very clean. But yeah, your Duelist has to, even if they die after the first kill or two, they need to run those routes every day without stopping, and that's how you become a good Duelist. You can't become a good Duelist by insta-locking Duelist, running to a side, getting dinked, and then running back. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, ask your Initiator to do something for you and work through the hardest situation, and you'll become a better Duelist.
I was talking to someone about, because I was talking about Alec and his trades, and I was talking to someone about how if you're playing a Duelist, you can take as much space, and the minute you have someone who's there with you, take even more. Because I was playing controller, 100%. And what I've learned is the best way to play controller with a Duelist is you just tell your Duelist to go, and like just let him keep running. Take as much space as possible, and you worry about everything else.
So on an attack run, I always say this anyway to most of the teams. I've said, like, on defense, if you trade 1-on-1, that's a bad thing. If you're defending and you die and you killed one guy, that's horrible. That's not a good trade. You need to go positive. On defense, you need to be outnumbering the enemy. Like, you can't. On attack, if you go 1-for-1, that's good because you've gotten a piece of the map now and you've got numbers. Well, you've got not a numbers advantage, but you should, because most people are playing default unless they've stacked the site, which is, statistically unlikely. So just plain simple Valorant, if you take that first fight on attacking run and you kill a defender, that's good for you. On defense, that's bad because now someone has to get out of spot, which opens map gaps on the map, right? So for a Duelist to get that first kill and for them to then chain it, that is the best part of a Duelist. Like, you get that first kill, you get the second kill, and then even if you don't get the third kill but you damage, then you've done more than you should have on an attack round. Your team should actually be clutching up after that. So definitely, so that's why I think lurking Reynas is everyone's bane. Yeah,
just because you lose that one person or they get a kill. That's the worst case scenario. They get a kill and now you have to deal with a Reyna that's lurking.
Exactly.
This I said that on the cast, but this is actually so smart. Actually, what Cubliks does here, for people taking notes, if you're getting spammed through smoke, don't run. If you get tagged, just stop moving. Because he does it, yeah. He gets spammed and then he stops and then he moves. And I'm like, that's insane. That is insane.
He did play it well.
Because more often than not, people will run away and you just spam where they're going to run and you get a kill more often than not. But the fact that he stopped, you guys are like, oh, he's not there, I guess. We know he's in the smoke, but not worth spamming more bullets there.
Cubliks is a good controller as well.
It's what, 3v2. Scarium's low. I think I remember this round. Because this was one of the major turning points, I think. Because this is where we went. I think the next 2 rounds you come A and then come A again.
Yeah, and I think we lose them.
Yeah. Just because of that one clutch.
Yeah. And we have
that one Scarium
terrible positioning. Like, that is a horrible setup for us.
Yeah, but it's also sketch. Like, it's always easy to look at the freeze frame of the minimap and say, oh, well, the spike was planted in a bad spot, but there's a lot of other factors. If you killed Cubliks
happening up to the like, so to be quite frank, I think NoFear win that fight before we even plant. So I don't even think we plant in that scenario. I think we have to maybe go for a fight there or tap fake or something, but like even getting the bomb down there is not advantageous for us. But yeah. I mean, I think Cloaks kills 1 there as well after he gets the plant down, and then they just don't get the next couple of kills. But it's like you said now, there's a lot of things leading up to the reason as to why they're sitting in those positions.
Yeah.
Like, it was good timing from NF. I think they pushed through the smoke as well and got a couple of trades on that run.
So I see the aggro pushing tiles.
I remember this, yeah.
And I don't like it. Because this is what happens. The lurker on A or the lurker on B just rotates over, kills 2 people. There you go.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have mid control, but now you've lost 2 players.
Yeah, and I wonder if NF were trying to like, because quite frankly, if somebody like Keng is playing the Odin, like try to avoid him, you know, at all costs and deal with him last. But like they should have known, obviously, because I think yeah, 3-4 people die to Keng going short, and it's also individual fights. I remember watching from his POV. It's like one peaks, dies, then the res comes in, and then he peaks and he dies and he kills the person resed. So.
Oh, this is almost crazy. I remember this.
Yes.
This is almost crazy.
I remember Toothless also said, guys, just don't get too far away from the spike. We don't want it to ninja. That's literally what he said.
No, this is obviously
I didn't even
like
know he was that close. That's insane.
the odds of him winning this are low because of that neural theft, but I think he sticks it. I honestly think he probably gets to half, kills 1, Sage Wall's still up, halves it, and wins the round. If that neural theft doesn't come through.
I don't know if does he get half there. I think it's so close there. Like that's so fast though. Thank goodness we used the neural theft.
It's literally that ping. I genuinely believe he gets half because this is when it pinged. So neural theft gets committed about here. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. If he doesn't get pinged by that neural theft, that's half.
Yeah, then he gets half. Yeah, then he can win for sure.
He gets half, he gets off, kills cloaks, and then you have to run all the way around. He can still defuse in that time.
No, I think he becomes a lot more scarier if that Cypher doesn't go off.
Yeah, that was insane. Like to get in that spot, I'm like, that's good on you. I was talking to, I forget who it was, but we were talking about Paper X versus like the final for champs, and double swings and stuff, and like how do you?
EG.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how do you trade out properly, and the argument I had is at this level, or at least where people have hands and aim, the best way to trade out isn't at the same time, because more often than not you guys will be trading at a similar cadence and people will fire 2 or 3 shots extra after that first kill, and like the best way is to like stagger your swings.
Yeah, so I don't think like even just this is at the end of the day, like I think the healthiest thing to do in Valorant, and you'll see this is as well, this is like one of the best things that EG do, is they have like multiple phases of util usage. And that's why, so yes, you should be trading out, but above all the trading out, you should be utilizing util before the trade even happens. So you should be working for angles and stuff with util first, and that should be the trade off first, and then the retrade after that. So you don't, it's not like necessarily like CS where like, you know, there's a pop flash or like 1 or 2 things, because obviously there's a lot more utility in Valorant. I guess I'm not an expert in CS, but I guess in CS it's a little bit more straightforward. You can just swing and trade off, which I guess is mostly where the term comes from. But in Valorant, like it's you want to trade off, but it's also kind of stupid to dry swing ever. Like if you have util to give you a slight bit of advantage, you should use it at almost all the times. Obviously, you know, knowing whether the timing is right, that was big by Three. I remember this. Knowing whether or not you should have your util or your gun out comes with experience, so you'll learn to utilize that timing perfectly. But primarily, you want to make sure that every fight you take is at an advantage.
Yeah,
that was very good. That was very good for Maxo as well.
I'm waiting to see. I haven't seen as much of it in South African Val, but I haven't seen any counter flashing. It's such a concept that I think is so novel, but no one's doing it. Where when you know Phoenix is going to be in a spot where he flashes, you prep a Sky Flash in response for the guy who's playing anti. I haven't seen any of that.
So I think I don't know. I think Cloaks does do it once or twice, where like he will definitely counter flash, like especially in some of the games we've played, some of the officials in Metal State as well, on Breeze specifically because he plays Sky. So he'll definitely like if he's being rushed by a 4 or 5 man, then he'll pop a flash to get himself out. Like so if he's like blinded, obviously he'll just counter flash and then pop out to get out. But I think usually you don't want to necessarily, if you're defending, like right, if they do pop a flash to take a side, you don't want to counter flash and then swing into that, because more often than not, there's going to be, if it's a good team, there will be more util than just a flash. It'll be a flash followed by a dash, an updraft, a boombot, a nade, an aftershock, 7 other different things. So it's really hard. I think one thing people forget in Valorant is retakes are gold. Like retakes in Valorant, if you practice it, you can beat almost any good team. This was a great clutch by Barcy, by Toothless. But retakes in Valorant are king. Like retakes mean almost more than anything else.
Yeah, and that's like, you can see it in this round alone. If Toothless doesn't clutch, then I think the trajectory of this game is completely different.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. This was a huge clutch by Toothless.
4v4 rapidly turns into a 4v2.
Yeah, and this retake of theirs is perfect.
Yeah, and there's just a miscommunication because they still have. Well, who dies? Wait, Komi and Scarium die in like half a second, no?
Basi does get Komi there. Yeah, he gets him in the corner, I guess. And then the smoke goes out. Then he gets Scarium as well. So that was really quick. So this was a 4K for him.
Yeah, it's a 4K for him. Holy, I only saw the 2 kills and I'm like, oh, that's how it happened. But yeah, Komi gets rolled. That's how strong the retake is. Because I think if it's this frame, right, so he gets the first one, it's this frame here. Where he has his util out. Yeah, where he has his smoke out. I think
a second.
That's serious defining. Yeah, he didn't know he was there at all. He just shot it.
Yeah. No, this is so well played with him. We were so chuffed with this.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I must say. I'm like so proud of my team. Like I still probably need to make a tweet about that, but I'm proud about these oaks because like at no point were we actually like demolishing NoFear. Like it was constantly a fight from behind to try and get it, and these guys had such good game, like such good like reads on the game, and they had good rhythm going into the attacking rounds especially. So it was hard to deal with them, and it was nice, I guess, at the end of the day to go the whole, the whole 5 yards.
Yeah, this is what you get, guys, for being a hoper. For being a coper. Literally, as I said it, I did a prediction in the beginning where I said it's going to be 3-1 NoFear, just because I don't think NoFear gets clean swept, if that makes sense. The odds of them getting full swept is non-existent. And the other caster said it, and as he said it, I'm like, but Nixuh is Nixuh. Like, the names on there don't just get 3-0'd or 3-1'd.
Thanks. It's so nice of you to like to trust so much in us. But I must say, like I don't think we got this result just because like we've been putting, like, people probably don't think about it, but we have been putting in quite some time on.
Yeah,
like,
it's the hours that matter.
Scrims. Yeah, and we've been doing quite a lot of scrims, and like that's a shout out to SLRL as well. Like they were scrim buddies of ours for quite a bit as well. Probably still make use of them going forward, but like we had some good like players to play against and practice against, and that all just helped and developed our synergy and stuff, because we are still very early in terms of strats here. Like we don't have golden strats, we don't like have different phases of strats in this game yet, especially not on Sunset. Because there you can see my Sage with the res is like peaking the first fight, so yeah, my Duelist Sage. So like all in all, this was nice for us as a team to go through this experience, because we have played everyone, and obviously everyone has been quite decent. We've scrimmed against a bunch of good teams, like the Rare Thread team as well, with SLRL, and all those games basically was the reason we were able to reverse sweep this. If it wasn't for that, I don't think we would have won this, because we had very good teamwork. It wasn't strats and stuff; it was more the teamwork and how well the Oaks played together.
Yeah, and it came in big, and now you guys are qualified for Age.
No, I'm very happy. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I can't wait to get to that. I hope, like I said, I genuinely hope that NoFear get a couple of sponsors and make their way to LAN, because I think it'll be an amazing fight as well to see those Oaks at LAN.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it as well. Not necessarily Rage. I don't know where I'm gonna be at Rage. But yeah, thank you for joining with me. Thank you for joining me today. I think it's always fun to talk to people who are playing the game and share some of that knowledge. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. I think I want to get the Socks Up guys, or Team Espionage guys, on tomorrow.
Yeah, get Rob. Go get Rob from Socks Up, man.
Yeah, I'd love to get. Yeah, I'd love to get that.
This is a little thing like that. Oh, Mango. Mango's also quite good at that stuff.
Yeah, Mango's back actually. Yeah, let's talk to Mango. Yeah, we'll talk to Mango tomorrow then. Well, I'll see if Mango's available. Cool. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you guys around. Bye.